Hi. I wanted to talk a little bit about this phenomena, I guess you could call it, of being empathic or highly sensitive. Now, when I say phenomena, it seems like there's a buzz happening right now in the world where more and more people are becoming sensitive and highly empathic. That is, sensitive to energies. So I wanted to talk a little bit about three specific pitfalls that can happen for people that are empathic or highly sensitive, or people that are just discovering that they are highly sensitive. And when I say just discovering, it's interesting because I have spoken with people recently who never felt sensitive. They just went about their day and went about their lives, but now they're becoming more and more sensitive to the energies around them. So this relates to anybody who might label themselves as sensitive or empathic. And three potential pitfalls, and I'm sure there's more, but this is just one perception of it, that where you can fall into in this discovery of your sensitivity. So the first one would be this idea of blame. So we tend, and when I say we, I don't necessarily mean we sensitive people. I'm referring to my own experience, but I'm also expressing this in a way where what I've seen with other people occurring, which is kind of similar to my own experience. So the first one would be blame, which is this idea specifically for sensitive people, where we develop these patterns or adversities towards other people. They could be people close to us, they could be acquaintances, strangers, people that we work with, family. I say adversities, but it's more of like a built up of energy, where somebody, quote, makes us feel a certain way, or we feel negative energy. Again, I'm going to put in quotes about other people, and we develop this buildup of energy, meaning that we don't know quite what to do with it. So it's very easy to project that energy outwards, and that's where our energy goes. And then within that process, we're actually suppressing more of what is happening within us, not just on the mental level, but in a deeper somatic or emotional level. We're suppressing it by actually pushing it outwards. So how do we break this pattern? We break this pattern by looking within, is the simple answer. Looking within. Taking our mind off of the circumstance, the person, any situation that causes us an emotional thought or a sensitivity of suffering. And we take that off and we look a little bit deeper. So we trace that feeling, we feel that feeling, and we trace it back. Now, we can't always know the origin of something that comes up within us or how our body feels, because it could be ancestral, or it could be other lifetimes, or it could be trauma that we have suppressed for a long time. So slowly, in our own time, in our own comfort zone, we, instead of falling into blame, we just stop ourselves, basically, and become aware of what's going on within, and we sit with that. We sit with that in our body. We can even bring our attention into our hearts. And this is just an opening. This allows the invitation, I should say, to look at this suppressed energy. Doesn't mean we have to feel everything at once. That can be completely overwhelming for people, but just inviting this idea of where is this coming from, exploring this idea of where is this coming from, and how can I move through it. So the second idea or pitfall would be isolation. These feelings can become too much, and there's a tendency towards, again, this is what I have done in the past, this is my own experience and what I've seen with others, there's a tendency to self-isolate. And I'm not talking about because there's something happening in the world and we have to go into our homes. I'm talking about being affected by the world on a sensitive level that, and this can be tied in very much to this blame as well, but being affected on a sensitive level where we don't really want to be around people. It's better to recharge ourselves, to, go within, to go home, do things that we can take care of ourselves, which is great because we all need to have ways in which we discover how we can nurture ourselves better. But what I'm talking about a little bit more is isolating ourselves from these feelings, from these emotions, from these people in such a way where we begin to lose communication. And I just want to invite this idea that perhaps moving out of this state of where we feel almost like a victim, to learn, again, slowly in our own time to be able to communicate with people. We can take our focus off of ourselves, which is taking our focus off of our sensitivity temporarily, and we can give it to somebody else, and we can listen. And this listening, taking our focus off ourselves and putting it onto somebody else, being able to listen to them and sense them in a way where we're open, this actually builds confidence in the empath or the highly sensitive person. You'll begin to build more confidence within you. You'll begin to learn how to effectively communicate with others. I'm not just talking social media and emails, but effectively face-to-face being able to communicate. And this will open up a whole new world for sensitive people in terms of confidence and being in the world in creative ways. So the third thing, or the third pitfall that I wanted to talk about, is this idea of self-analysis. So it's easy to get caught up in these ideas or these labels that we put on ourselves. So we have these mind labels, I'm an empath, I have OCD, I'm highly sensitive, I have autism. Okay, fine. You've been given these labels, but how are you going to use that? What does that actually mean? How are you going to help transform yourself? So this idea of moving away from self-analysis of labels that we have been given in the world to a deeper self-analysis. So we're looking at our own personal experience as opposed to what other people tell us our experience is. We can get caught up in the dictionary and the psychological labels about being highly sensitive, but this actually might inhibit our ability to be effective in the world in creative ways and to discover and to accept what our own deeper experience is. So I would just suggest look beyond the labels. Maybe don't even label yourself as empathic or sensitive. Look beyond these labels and follow that thread of sensitivity, that thread of emotion. When something happens to you, where even if it's too much or if it's just a little trigger, look at that. Take a breath. Again, take your focus off the other. Take a breath and begin to be open to this idea of discovery. Where does that emotion come from? Where is it happening within me? It could be even as surface as, it's happening in my left toe. Great, that's a start. But there's a deeper somatic feeling level to what you might be calling yourself or labeling yourself as. So become aware, feel completely, only to the level of your comfort. And I always say feel the feeling until its completion. But also I add to the level of your comfort because it can be too much sometimes. So those would be the three areas, would be blame, isolation, and your ability to become self-aware or self-analysis. Those would be kind of three pitfalls as a newly emerging sensitive person or a long-time empath, somebody that's felt this way since the moment of their birth. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about that because the subconscious, what we're experiencing now as, what we are and who we are, even if we don't know what we are, but the sensitivity that we experience, it's basically coming from our subconscious programming. So if we have a sense or a belief that we are a certain way, that comes from our subconscious memories or our programming. I'm not saying that you have to know what these are, but if you know where they come from and what's driving you is the past memories, then it can become easier to explore that and develop it's almost like a freeing within when you know that you aren't these programs that are playing. You know, they could come from our ancestors, they could come from past traumas, they could come from anything in the past that had an effect on us and was suppressed. So we want to take what's suppressed and we want to bring it to the surface again in a comfortable way, so we can learn to actually be in this world as a highly sensitive person and discover that we do have this power within us, this incredible amount of energy and power within us, but it's only a thought and an emotion away to be able to free it. So I hope that's not too much. I know that's a lot of information, and again, this is my own experience. I want everybody to feel free in their lives, and I just invite you to drop all the labels of who you think you are and what the world tells you, and just to take a moment with yourself and to explore a deeper possibility of release, which can happen at a very deep level within your body. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a beautiful day. Aloha.